What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Combat Sports Central. Today we're looking at the fight of the weekend. Dan Hooker, Dustin Poirier in the main event. We're actually looking specifically at the main event for this video. I'm so excited for this fight. It's going to be most likely, what everybody's predicting is it's going to be a stand-up affair. Both guys have legit grappling skills, so maybe we see it go there, but they're both very active on the ground, looking for transitions, looking for submissions. If you're a casual fan, this is a main event that is going to make you super excited. Let's get straight into looking at both guys. As a main event fighter, at this point, it's almost a guarantee that Dustin the Diamond Poirier will put on a performance that deserves a post-fight bonus. Securing 4 in his last 5 fights, the title fight actually earned his opponent Khabib Nurmagomedov a performance of the night bonus, so in all of his last fights, one fighter has earned a post-fight bonus. And in all 5 of those fights, he's fought by far the division's toughest competition. Let's go over those 5. This is his 5 most recent fights. At the time, 5 fights ago, Dustin took on the 13th ranked Anthony Pettis, former UFC world champion. May I also remind you that Anthony Pettis is the guy that knocked off Cool Benson Henderson, another top 10 lightweight in UFC history. This would be Poirier's second feel of the main event spot, and this is really where Dustin Poirier broke out at lightweight. Him and Pettis combined for over 150 strikes in under 3 rounds. People were calling this fight a strange, bloody, but exhilarating fight. It went down as pretty much a gory classic. Pettis suffered fractured ribs, losing to Dustin Poirier in the end, which would catapult Dustin Poirier into the main event scene for the career up until now. And it was just an amazing performance for Dustin Poirier against a former world champion. Then went on to stop reigning interim champion and clear number 1 contender for the lightweight title, Justin Gaethje, inside the scheduled 5-round main event. Then in a rematch due to controversial circumstances, Dustin Poirier added another stoppage victory by defeating the Underground King Eddie Alvarez, who at the time sat as the number 3 lightweight in the UFC and reigned as champion just as far back as 2016. In 2019, this renewed Dustin Poirier achieved interim champion status, earning a second victory over the then featherweight champion Max Holloway, who, going into the fight, Max Holloway was the unanimous favorite on 12 of 12 betting sites. I have all the history. Here you go. Clearly an upset victory there for what was a guy that was earning big victories nonstop in his last 3 fights. And then finally, from the interim champion status, he was able to get a title fight against undefeated, probably the greatest lightweight of all time at the moment, Khabib Nurmagomedov. But in saying that, even though he lost, Poirier can be unanimously approved as a crafty veteran with an amazing track record. He's defeated some of the best lightweights the world has had to offer. He has to be considered one of the top 4 lightweights in the world right now. One of the top 3 or 4 active lightweights in the world, definitely. He cemented himself in the discussions of being a top 10 lightweight of all time inside the UFC and inside of MMA in general. I made my list just because I've done all this research on Dustin Poirier, and now it seems clear to me that he's a top 10 lightweight of all time. But in any fight, it takes 2 to tango. The fun part that makes this fight as exciting as it is that the Diamond will stand across from the Hangman Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker himself has put together 7 wins in his last 8 performances. He has consistently stopped opponents. In his last 2, he picked up 2 decisions, one very, very close decision against Paul Felder. But Hooker holds wins over Gilbert Burns, Al Iaquinta, and Paul Felder. This will be a jump in competition for sure. But when you're looking at Dan Hooker, it takes an in-between-the-lines analysis of why he is looking so much improved and so better fight to fight. Obviously, if you know anything about where he comes from, it's his gym, City Kickboxing, that has become a hut of success. Featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski just defeated stud Max Holloway in a unanimous performance, just like Dustin Poirier did himself. Also, you have their middleweight UFC world champion, stud striker, one of the best kickboxers to ever transition into the UFC, Israel Adesanya, who is also a training partner of Dan Hooker. These guys are always competing, always going after it. Those are like the two alphas of the gym. So if he's training with Israel Adesanya every day, you just know that you're going to see jumps in improvement every fight this guy goes out there to fight. And add in, you see Coach Eugene Behrman, and you have a well-oiled machine that pumps out new and improved fighters in every single one of their fights. Now, this fight has all the makings of being an instant classic, fight of the year candidate. I recommend you guys go watch Tale of the Tapes analysis of this fight because he did a wonderful job breaking down both guys' styles and how it's going to turn into the fight that I'm telling you it's going to be. Stand-up, banger, war, in the pocket, most likely. One guy's going to be in the pocket. One guy's going to use his reach. I'm just super excited for this fight. If I was going to have to put a prediction down, I'm going to have to follow the majority here and go with Dustin Poirier. I think that he's a more technical striker. I think in the pocket, he's going to have the advantage majority of the time. Felder found ways into the pocket. I think that Poirier is going to be able to do it. He's slick with his stand-up. But if Dan Hooker wins, I would be nowhere near surprised because these guys are both so close in competition. The way Dan Hooker improves every single fight, the way he picks up finishes, the way he finds the finishes in fights, I wouldn't be surprised if he found a finish in this one. But I want to know your guys' opinion in that comment section below. Let me know who you guys think is going to win and what happens for the winner. If Dan Hooker wins, where is he going to go from there? If Dustin Poirier wins, where is he going to go from there? But for me, I'm just excited to see if Dustin Poirier can continue picking up wins, continue cementing his legacy as one of the best lightweights of all time. That's my interest going into this fight. Or you see a new face, a new name inside those discussions in Dan Hooker. It's going to be a super exciting fight, guys. You're going to want to make sure you tune into that fight. And while you're tuning into that, why don't you hit that subscribe button down below? We're Combat Sports Central, bringing you all things combat sports. If you need more content, you know where to go. But that'll do it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, remember to smash that like button. And again, subscribe to the YouTube channel. But that'll do it for today. Peace out.